A contractor completely bailed on me while I was hospitalized. I was renovating a 3-bed, 2-bath rental property, and we're about halfway through a pretty good sized project, and I go to the hospital to have my second child. I'm in the hospital for a couple of days, and then I go home for a couple of weeks and just recover before finally going to check on that project again. And I get there, and nothing has been done. I'm trying to contact this contractor and he's not really being responsive. He's giving excuses and then being quiet for long periods of time. So finally I have to call another contractor to come in. Not only is it gonna take longer, but he's also gonna have to redo some of the work the previous contractor did because it just wasn't done well. So I spend several extra weeks and about $10,000 extra finishing this project. We've probably all heard these kinds of stories, the horror stories of working with bad contractors. Well, right now I'm in the midst of a flip, the strip and flip project, which you may have seen some of my other videos about this. I'm trying to take all of you guys through the process. So I thought now would be a good time to share with you all the top 3 ways that I find contractors. I'm not saying that you can completely avoid the bad situations, but I definitely think there are some good ways to find contractors that reduce the likelihood of being ripped off like I was. Method number 1, networking. And if you've seen some of my other videos, networking is kind of my favorite way to do everything in real estate. I think it's really powerful. But when you know other people in real estate, you have really trustworthy sources. Over time, these people become friends and you guys share these trusted resources. You share contractor references, ideas of where to go buy your cabinets and your countertops and your tile. So I think networking is the top way to find good contractors. If you don't have that network built yet, start going to networking meetups. You can look on meetup.com or on Facebook, find the different real estate Facebook groups, join those and figure out when people are meeting so you can start get to know other people in real estate in your market. The last resort in this networking category would be just to use those Facebook groups directly. You can get in there and just ask people to send their recommendations. Now you don't know these people and their background, so that's why I really encourage people to get out there and get to know people in real estate in person, but it is a good place to start rather than just trying to Google contractor in whatever market you're in. And a great part about this is I see these groups of people as a vetting source. They're helping to vet these people because they're already using them on their own projects. So you still want to do some of your own checking into these people, but I do feel that when someone I trust recommends a contractor to me, they're in a sense already pre-vetted for me. Method number 2, trucks, vans, and signs. So when you're driving around the parts of town where you want to be working and you see a truck for a plumbing company or an electrician's van, or you see signs in the yard for a roofing company that just redid a roof, you know that you are seeing vendors and contractors that specifically work in your area. And this is important because the types of contractors and vendors that you want to use in places where you have long-term 1-bedroom apartment rentals versus the kinds of people you want to be working with when you're flipping 4-bedroom houses in really nice neighborhoods, those might be a completely separate set of vendors and contractors. So I really like to look for vans and signs in the areas where I am flipping or where I'm buying rental properties to understand who's doing work in these areas. Am I seeing them a lot in these areas? Are there people around here that maybe I could get some information from them on how their experience was with these contractors and vendors? And it's really easy to document this too, because when you're driving by a truck or a van or a sign, you just pull out your phone, snap a picture, put those pictures of all those vendors and contractors into some sort of folder on your phone. So you have an easy way to look through all the different options when it's time to go start calling around because you need a new vendor. Method number 3, and this might be my favorite one because I think it's very clever. Ask your contractors what other contractors and vendors they like to work with. So if you're working with a general contractor, but you're gonna go ahead and hire out the person to refinish your floors, you're gonna buy the cabinets yourself, and you're gonna have the AC replaced yourself, you can ask your contractor if he has some recommendations for you. I also think it's really great to ask contractors who work directly before or after each other, especially the ones who work after someone. So if you are buying cabinets, ask your countertop guy who they like in terms of installers for cabinets, because they're the ones who come in and have to figure out how to get that countertop looking good on top of those cabinets that were just placed. So they might know really good installers or a really good place to buy quality cabinets. Same thing with electric and plumbing. Ask your contractor about those because they're the ones who have to come in and work in and around the electric and plumbing work that was just done by these other vendors. So I think it's always a great idea to ask your contractors and vendors who they recommend, especially if it's someone who does the work right before or right after them in the timeline of the project. Networking, trucks or vans and signs in the areas where you're doing your projects. and asking your contractors and vendors what other contractors and vendors they like to work with. Now, a little bonus tip about vetting these vendors and contractors. Hopefully they're coming somewhat pre-vetted, especially if you're finding them through networking and through people you trust in real estate, but you always want to do your homework and your due diligence. In St. Louis, or in Missouri as a whole, they have a website called CaseNet. This is a website established to allow the public to have access to court records so you can look and see if there have been judgments or issues with any of the contractors or vendors that you're going to work with. You can look up the company name and or the individual person's name to see if there are judgments against them or if they've been taken to court for doing bad work or for not finishing jobs or whatever the case may be. CaseNet is specific to Missouri, but I went ahead and spent some time looking up the similar websites across all 50 states. Use the link below to go access that, and hopefully that helps you with vetting your contractors and vendors. Hope your journey is going well. Have fun.